Most apps fail before they launch because the idea is not useful. So today I'm showing my 5-step App Store packaging workflow. We're going to pick an app idea, we're going to do deep research, keyword research, competitive research, and then write the final App Store listing. Use these steps to position your app before you even write a line of code using Codex or Claude Code. Let's dive in. Why do most apps fail before they launch? If you've ever launched an app and it got crickets on the App Store, you're doing something wrong. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I'm going to give you 5 different things that we can leverage to make a better app. The reason your app is not getting downloads is the app packaging. And this is something that you have to actively work at to find a problem and solve it for a customer, and then articulate your solution to the customer. If you don't use the right words, it just goes right over their head. And so that's what we're going to get into this video. So I've got 5 different sections that we're going to talk about. We're going to first start with how to pick an app idea. And for me, this is really easy. For other people, I know this is hard. So I think if you want to get into app development, your best bet is to have a notebook and to take notes in that notebook, draw things out, write ideas down. That loop is going to get your head spinning in terms of products and ideas. And I just draw boxes for things. Like I'm thinking about a new feature in my teleprompter, and if I put this here, you might be able to read some of it. And so that is so incredibly helpful to just draw a simple sketch. You don't have to be an animator or a designer to draw boxes and write text in them. It's very simple. And you draw a stick figure that doesn't look like a real person. And it's good enough because it captures the idea. So I think a lot on paper. And sometimes it's over multiple days, sometimes it's over multiple weeks. With my latest app, this has been something that I've been dog fooding myself, which means I have been using it. I've been using it to make videos like this one. And it's really helpful because it gives me clarity. It allows me to go from notes to slideshow without any transformation of the text that I want to work with in Markdown. And so I solve problems that I have. My problem is presentation. My problem is brewing coffee. My problem is keeping track of time. My problem is creating artwork. And so I've built these different apps because I had a problem or an idea, and I run with them. And then I put them out there and you get feedback from people. And that's how you can go about picking an app idea. Now, I'm going to give you some tools in here that you can use to sort of jumpstart that process. And if you have a problem, what I want you to do is I want you to pause, stop, let's get out a pad of paper, and I want you to write down 5 recent frustrations you've had with technology, or 5 frustrations you've had with something. Maybe you're into writing and you want to write a book, and you're thinking, okay, what is a tool that could help me write a book or prompt me? Maybe you're interested in getting fit and losing weight. I lost 50 pounds by changing what I ate and my exercise habits. You can't out-exercise what you eat, but those two work together to make it a lot easier. Can you do something in that space? Do you have a special skill from your work experience, from jobs that you've worked on? Or have you seen a problem at work that you could automate so quickly that it would be useful for your previous boss or your current boss to leverage in your app? I recently built a mapping tool that allowed me to sort of see how big a region is. Like you can just spin up things so quickly with different tools. I had an idea. We just redid our shower up in the attic, and I had an idea that would have helped me think about the layout of the tile. It's not perfect. It looks good. There's a couple things that I just didn't like. And if I had visualized what the layout was going to be before we actually put it on the wall, knowing the exact dimensions, that would have helped me lay out something. So maybe you can do some kind of tile layout thing. Now, tile layouts tricky. You've got imperfect tiles, which my wife chose. So they're organic in nature and they're not perfectly uniform. And then you've got walls that might not be plumb or square. You might be in an old house. This house is almost 100 years old. It's 97 years old. Um, and so that adds challenges. We had floors that went like this, and we had to put hardwoods down, which meant we had to somehow make it a little bit less wavy. Um, One of the guys, I don't know if this is possible, but the drywaller wanted an app that would tell him how warm it was in the room without carrying an extra sensor. I don't know if you can do that from an iPhone. That would be a perfect app for a drywaller if you could position it for them. Um, I met a guy who's gold mining in Alaska, uh, and he's dredging to get gold. Like, what app could you build for someone like that? A little mapping tool that allows you to like just draw on the map where you've dredged. Like super niche apps like that are really interesting. And if you have a person in mind, they can be your first customer. They can help steer the direction that you're going to go. So this is all really important. So that's how I would start. I am a big fan of paper and pen. I go everywhere with this notebook when I travel. I write things down when I don't get time to do it because of construction or family, exercise, kids. Like there's a level of frustration that builds up. And so for me, thinking on paper is one of the best ways. The other thing I do is I'll have an iPad, and I like iPads because they're single focused. So I can open up my iPad and I can go right into my notes app and I can just start writing. So I have a November writing note that I'm still appending to. I probably need a new 2026 writing note. I've got the Magic Keyboard, and this is singular focus, which I like. I actually haven't updated to the latest iOS 26 because I don't want to multitask. I just want a dumb writing tool. And my iPad is that simple computer that has less distractions than my full MacBook. My full MacBook, the moment I open it, it is a distraction magnet. So set a timer for 25 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever time you can, and put on horse blinders and just work on whatever app ideas you want to write down. Another great thing, I don't know if I have any exact mind maps in here. I do have one later on. But it's not necessarily for apps. It's just about future direction. But mind mapping is a really important technique. And let me see if I can find it. For some reason, I opened the page to like the end of the book and just started drawing instead of the next page. Um, so a mind map just allows you to plan out some things that you want to do. And this is a great brainstorming technique. Set a 15-minute timer, do nothing else, go in do not disturb mode, tell your significant other, your kids that you're busy, or do it when they're asleep or not home, and you will be super productive. And that will spin up ideas that you want to work on. I'm working on a spider app. I'm working on brew coffee. I'm working on super easy timer. I'm working on YouTube. I'm working on um, machine learning stuff. Like there's so many different things that I'm working on, and that's all captured in this book. So I highly recommend it. Okay, so number 2 is deep research. And this is a power skill that if you have not leveraged yet, you are missing out big time. I use deep research all the time, and it is so helpful because you get a PDF artifact from ChatGPT Pro that you can then feed into other agents or models, and you can leverage insights that you've accumulated. And this is a really powerful technique for understanding a domain that you have no idea about, exploring something and getting some starting points, some ideas, some competitors, some features. There's all kinds of things you can do with deep research, and ChatGPT Pro is the best value on the market, in my opinion. It is something I've been paying for since January of last year, so that's $200 a month for an entire year. There's nothing that I have found that comes close to the level of thought and intelligence that ChatGPT ChatGPT is just leading on all fronts. Um, Grok 4.1 is just overconfident and just too cocky, doesn't do stuff right. It thinks it's better than all the models. It smack talks them. It's not good. Maybe 4.2 or 5, maybe. Claude, I don't know. I don't use it for writing. I used it for coding, but it lies a lot. I've stopped using it. I'll check it out in the near future. Um, but my writing is leveraging ChatGPT Pro. Gemini, I think, is terrible for coding. I don't know how people get good results. It like switches languages on me. It's removes features without asking. It's just bad. So deep research, highly recommend. And I'm going to show you some of my process. So I'm going to switch out of full screen mode here. And we've got a video here. I'm going to just hide that. All right, so I'm going to switch out of full screen mode. Mark. Okay, so I'm going to switch out of full screen mode. This is super user slides, and we're going to go into overlay mode. So overlay mode allows me to just have my notes right here. I can put them in the middle or the top and anchor them, and we can just keep on talking. So let's talk about deep research. Let's dive over here. And I didn't put it in the right order. So let's put this in the right order. So this is my App Store marketing plan for super easy slides. I asked ChatGPT a bunch of stuff. Now, if you're not using Whisperflow or if you're not using voice dictation, you are missing out. Whisperflow is my primary way of writing now on my Mac. And if I open it up, you can see the stuff that I wrote. This is what I wrote for another deep research prompt. And it just allows you to write so fast. Sorry that is so bright. And let's get back into it. So, deep research, I talk out what I want, and then it asks questions sometimes for figuring out the audience, the positioning, the pricing, target regions. And then I give it some feedback, and then it just goes. And so it's going to prompt and then tell you what it's doing. And then here's the final plan. So this is my first draft of super easy slides. This was an app I wasn't planning on publishing, but it's something I use, which I'm using right now, to help me with my video production so that I can just stay on point and have super easy slides from Markdown, which is the format I write my notes in. All right, so we can just sort of see it talks about app name and subtitle. I had a lot of ideas like maybe I should change the app name. Maybe I should change the subtitle. Let's talk about keywords. Think about things. It pulled up keywords that I wasn't even thinking of using. This is so incredibly useful. Some of these keywords are not good, but the fact that it's helping me brainstorm before I've even done anything, like this is just building context in my own brain of how to think about some of the terms, some of the language that people are talking about, and just position the product. And it's really important, I think, to do this before you start a product. But if you've already got a product, this is definitely going to take it to the next level because you have to articulate as a developer what your app is about. And that means talking in terms of marketing and user language. And that is hard to do if all you are doing is code. Now, if you come from a product background or a design background, that might be easier. If you come from none of those backgrounds, you're going to be learning a lot on the fly. And so that's why deep research and ChatGPT Pro are really helpful at getting a starting point. It's not going to be perfect and you're still going to have to edit it, but it gives you a really good starting point. I actually really liked this App Store description. This was probably the best writing that I've seen from ChatGPT where it just felt like it fit. And it's because I did give it resources to start with. Like I gave it a lot of context. And a lot of times the other thing you can do, and I guess I didn't do it in this version, I don't remember if I did this on my phone or not. This might have been on my phone or when I was in the car. I think I was in the car. My wife was driving. We were coming back from our Christmas holiday, driving from Maryland to New York. And so I was looking for a easy task that I could do that didn't require a ton of brain power. It wasn't like I could code in the car with two kids screaming half the time um, and crying and all the bathroom breaks. So this was really high value use of my time in the car while my wife drove. And it came up with these keywords. It came up with a draft of the description, which I actually really like. I still modified it more, but like this was a good first draft. And then I asked for the app preview video. I read this. I don't think I did exactly what it said. My app preview video is right here. And I just use ScreenFlow to, if you're doing a Mac app, I highly recommend ScreenFlow. Um, and this just allowed me to go through all the different features of the app. You can just sort of see how it works, keyboard shortcuts, walking through teleprompter mode, full screen mode, overlay mode, stuff like that. Just demoing the features of the app. All right. So these artifacts are really powerful for helping you think, how can I position this? How can I describe this? Then we have the screenshots. Now, this is again is a first draft. It's not perfect. It's introducing features that don't exist. I don't have themes in this app. It's all black and white. Um, it's not multiple styles. Again, not there. Overlay anywhere. So it had like essences of like what I was getting at. But I knew I needed refinement. And so like this is just the starting point. This is what you should do. You can leverage things like app masters or app figures or Apple preview guidelines. Tell it to use resources and you'll get better results. That's what I'm having it do right now for another project. Okay, so then what I did is I opened up, I didn't want to start a conversation in that one because there was just too much good research, and pro mode limits you on certain inputs and stuff. So then I had a question about naming. Can I use Markdown slides? And I don't think you can based on trademark. So Markdown is a trademark. So using that as the title would be bad. I knew I was interested in the word slides. And so it's just like coming up with that. And so I asked it to use the canvas. The canvas is sort of an editor where you can write stuff and it can edit while you're not writing. Apparently it's a little buggy. So then we went through a discussion back and forth. I gave it some keyword research, and that is what we're going to talk about next, because keyword research is or competitive research is the next thing that we want to get into. And actually, I am jumping the gun because my slides are in a different order. So let's hold that thought and let's do competitive research before we do keyword research. I'm jumping the gun because we just finished the deep research. That's our starting point. That's our anchor. And let me get some more coffee. I like to use this coffee thermos to keep my coffee hot. Got my GoPro sticker from when I work at GoPro. And I tend to serve coffee in small cups. So cheers. So in terms of competitive research, like this is a game changer if you want to position your app in a more coherent fashion. With competitive research, this allows you to jumpstart and think about features from a customer perspective. And that is really important when you're working on an application. And specifically, App Store reviews. There is gold mine upon gold mine that you can dig from App Store reviews on what products customers actually want. You're looking for pain points, you're looking for features they love, you're looking for how they describe something, the words they use. It's really important. I could say that my app is a slide generator from Markdown. And does that mean anything to you? What is a slide generator? When you think slide, do you think water slide? If you do an app store search, you're going to find a lot of games that are about slides instead of a presentation, because when we think about a word, like slide versus slides. Slides implies a list or a grouping of multiple individual slides. I can't even use the word in its singular form. So it's a collection of multiple, a slideshow. Yeah. So just thinking in terms of natural language is really beneficial. And if you pause and do that when you're working on your app, you're going to have some realizations, especially with that deep research. Okay, these are the ways I want to think about this. Now, for competitive research, I download App Store reviews. I did this when I worked at GoPro. Um, I had an intern build this app a long, long, long time ago, and it still works. It's called Review Researcher, and I just download stuff. There's other tools out there that can do this, or you can vibe code your own um, to download App Store reviews or Amazon product reviews. Any place where you can get user generated content about a product or service or app is really powerful because it's where you can dig for gold on features that customers want. And so I use this for customer language. I use this for customer personas. If you know anything about user research, like you can have ChatGPT do all of this type of stuff for you automatically if you can provide it some of the data that it needs to do. And it is incredible. So let's take a look at how this works. And I hit the wrong button and lost my slideshow. So let's get it back. All right. So we're talking about competitive research. And this is kind of in the way. So let's move it down here. Let's see. Competitive research right here. So I'm going to search Keynote macOS in Google, and that's going to give me a link. Now, if you click this link, it's going to open up the App Store, or you can right click on the link and say open a new tab. That way it doesn't open in the App Store. And now you have the URL right here that you can copy and paste. If you're in the App Store and you're doing competitive research, I have too many apps open, but it is right here. We can search for different apps. So we can do slides and see what appears. We're going to see slides for Google. Really bad reviews, like slides for Markdown might be a good title option if I want to rank first. You can see how this, because slides is the first, it's showing up here. And maybe this works better on iOS, so it's ranking there, and so it's getting traction to rank on macOS. I don't really know. But we can just sort of see what apps are here. You can make this bigger and sort of dig into App Store and do competitive research. So this is a really powerful technique. Find an app that you want to get reviews for and just grab the URL. So if I click on something like Keynote here, there's a button in the top right. You can click this if you wait a little bit, and then you can copy the link right here and use that in something that you create. So this is my app, Review Researcher. I might publish this, or it might be something that I share with my community members. So if you want info on that, I'll have a link in the description for my app launch community. Yeah. So let's search, and this will give me all those App Store reviews. We can see there's a bunch of ratings. We see a bunch of 5 and 4 star. This is actually a lot better than the Google app that I was taking a look at. And we can see what people are saying. Now, I'm just going to export this to a CSV file, and I'll just call it Keynote. And I tend to do this on occasion. So I'll label it with the date in reverse sort of year format. And I'll just say Keynote, and I'll paste it there. And then I can leverage this in ChatGPT. Now I have all of the context. If I wanted to open up any of that stuff, I would be able to open it up and see all those reviews. So this is a really powerful technique. I don't know if it's going to show up in my recents. I honestly don't understand why recents doesn't show the latest files added to my file system, but it doesn't. So this would be under, where did I put it? I don't have a quick link here. So we're going to go to here. No, that's going to be the wrong location. Spider identifier. Okay, super easy slides. And then I think on their app store, I have competitors. And then I've got the newest keynote reviews. So let's take a look at this. And then typically, like if I was reading this and I wanted to like print it out, I'm going to do the width always at like 200, press enter. And then I'm going to select everything with Command A, and I'm going to go up to my, I'm going to click this option right here. That's going to put everything in a nice line, word wrap, resize this. The author's name doesn't need to be that long. So we got Retired Puddle Pirate. And then making this one probably a little bit bigger. And then if I want to print this out and just highlight things, I can print it out. Or you can feed this into an agent. And so this is really helpful. I like to internalize language. So sometimes just reading this at night is really useful of just like going through each one. And if you want to leverage AI, you can do that as well. Okay, so that's how I leverage App Store reviews. And then I take them over and I use that as inputs to this. So I took that Super Easy Slides App Store description that was from my app marketing plan, and I put that into a text file. So as I'm working, I'm creating a markdown file right here. And let's see if we can pin this back up here. I'm creating a markdown file, and I'm adding in the description here. I'm formatting it for the App Store. There's certain things like bullet points. If you want to do a bullet point, you're going to have to do option 8 to get a symbol that's going to look good, or you have to use a Unicode symbol for the App Store. So I'm doing stuff like that. And then I've got App Store screenshot optimization playbook, and I've got a playbook for screenshots as well. And then I'm pasting in the Google slide. So this is some stuff. I pasted in a description. It had some errors. I pasted in more stuff. Went back and forth. I asked for themes with Google Slides, and it gave me some stuff. And then I think, I don't know if it was in this one, but I asked it also for more stuff. So then if we come over here, I know I have some keywords over here. That's sort of helping drive this. But then I'm going through and I am uploading at some point in here. I asked it to look at more documents. So we can see here, I pasted in more stuff. So DocSet was another competitor. Got some more stuff, talked about the positioning. Then I pasted Google Slides, App Store reviews. So this is where I'm using the competitive research. There's only 2 reviews here, so not much there. And that's helping me really refine the positioning. And then it's like, well, maybe you should actually be using keynotes. Then I grab keynote at some point in this conversation, and just sort of keep going back and forth. Those are Google Slides again, because I felt like it wasn't listening to me. And then I just kept on prompting it, giving it different things. And we just ultimately like just kept going back and forth, and stuff like that. So I open up multiple conversations. It's a little bit hard trying to remember exactly where I go with this. But this was kind of like my go-to. Okay, let's keep writing this out. Let's keep talking about the features. Let's do eventually the App Store screenshots and stuff. And this is all based on keyword research, competitive analysis, just looking at that type of stuff. And let's get into keyword research, because that's the sort of the next puzzle piece is like, while you're doing all this, you do need to think about keywords, and we're going to talk about keywords now. So there's a bunch of different keyword research tools. I really like Astro right now, but there's also App Figures, and there's other stuff like Google Trends. There is maybe SEO Moz, or I'm trying to think, Ahrefs, all kinds of stuff. When you're doing apps, you want tools that are geared towards apps. So I would say Astro or App Figures. App Figures is going to be a bigger investment. Okay. So now that you have some of the language, you have some of the ideas, we're going to dig into keywords because keywords are going to help you then re-anchor, okay, how can I position my app on the App Store to leverage App Store search? And this is something that's called App Store ASO, App Search Optimization, I think is the acronym. So if you hear ASO, if I ever say ASO, it is referring to people going to the App Store, typing some words, and trying to find an app. And if you've ever done that, there's a lot of crap, and you're going to be looking at, if you next time you do that, think about like what you're looking for. Are you looking at the icon? Are you looking at the title? Are you looking at the subtitle? Like what's making you click on something? Most likely it's going to be the icon is going to drive your attention. The name is going to catch your eye. And then the subtitle, if you see it, sometimes it's a little bit dynamic and they show multiple things on that second line. That might confirm whether you want to click on it, if you want to learn more, or if you see the video now. And that's the reason I put the video in, is because videos are really powerful. This is something I've been like dragging my feet on with my other app, Super Easy Timer. I just need to do it, and I've been doing everything else to avoid it. I've just been procrastinating. So this is all an iterative process. Like we're doing this one time, you're going to do this another time, and you're going to reevaluate your marketing materials and what's resonating once you start getting App Store reviews. And that's a whole nother thing. So let's talk about these keyword research tools and how I'm using them. So I'm going to go back here. Let's put this at the top. Do I need this right now? Not yet. So let's hide this. And here's my working description. Let's see if we don't need this anymore. The App Store is useful if you want to do some analysis of existing apps. And I can sort of show maybe how to do that using something like Keynote. So let's grab Keynote. I'm going to copy the link. And now we're going to focus on this app. Let me just hide others. And I'll just bring back Super Easy Slideshow. And we'll bring this right here. Okay, so we're going to focus in on this. So I've got a lot of app ideas. I've got experiments where I'm curious about, like I'm working on a spider identifier app. I'm looking at keywords there. This is really powerful. Like AI is taking off, but it's also very difficult. So let me show you how you can think about details like this. So AI is a really hot term. It's very popular. Everyone is searching AI, but it's also very difficult. If you see an 85, that's something that a new app is not going to be able to rank for. And if we look, we can see ChatGPT is the top ranking app. So we see ChatGPT is top, Grok is third. If Grok wanted to rank first, they could write AI powered by Grok. And that would, because the first word is going to position it so that it would probably beat out ChatGPT. The fact that AI is in this is helping ChatGPT. And if we look at the rating counts, Grok just doesn't have the numbers. 800,000 versus 5 million. And so to beat this, it has to either put the keyword in the first spot in the title. If either of them added AI to their title, they would always probably be the top result for AI. I mean, you can see that Sora is ranking for AI just because AI is in the title. This is probably hurting them. The fact that they say OpenAI in their description, they should have been better about the keywords here that they're using in their subtitle. And we'll talk about that later. So this is keyword research. And what I care about is something like spider identifier. So this, you can see that it's popular and the difficulty is not as bad. So I'm working on a spider identifier because I have a lot of spiders in my house and I wanted to play around with machine learning. That seemed like a simple idea. It has now evolved into a huge process. I've got spiders behind me. Some of them didn't make it because I didn't feed them over the holidays. But there's always walking around my walls. And so I want to be able to identify them accurately. So find something that you're interested in and see what keywords are ranking, and then inspect those apps. Now, um, if we look at a keyword like scan, what do you think the keyword scan is all about? Is that scanning documents? Is that scanning faces? What is that doing? And let's take a look. You can just click here in Astro and we can see scanner app. So this is for convert on iPhone, comma, documents. Kind of a weird subtitle, but this is scanner app, period, JPEG photo. So this is like keyword stuff. Um, it's really keyword stuff. And they've got a lot of downloads. Here's scanner app, cam scanner. These are all PDF. Okay, here's a QR code reader. PDF, QR code reader. So like if you want to make a QR code reader, scan is a good keyword to rank for because it's got a lot of traffic. The problem, it's very popular. The problem is it's very difficult to rank for this keyword. So you're going to want to find keywords that have less competition, like this one right here. But that's just spider identifier colon. So it's like, yeah, less people are going to type that because most people are going to type spider identifier. And they're just clicking this, maybe because Apple has grouped these two things together as one concept. All right. But if we look at spider, well, what ranks for spider? Is spider a good term to rank for? I'm not sure. Spider seems to be mostly solitaire. If we look at the top 8, top 7, it's all like, it's all solitaire practically, except this one. So 6 of the 7 apps are all solitaire. If we look down here, we've got a couple games. There's 4 games here, and then 6 solitaire things. Actually, I'm not sure what this one is. And then we can just look at the ranking. Like if you want to rank above them for keyword research, they have tons of ratings. Oh, this one doesn't have any. This one was released in 2019, 7 years ago. You might be able to rank for the word spider if it's in your name. But all of these, it's stiff competition. Like this is the only one that's ranking for spider that actually doesn't have spider in the name anywhere, which is weird. But it's got enough positive reviews that it's got traction. And we could look a little bit more and see other things here. So all of these appear to be games. Games are driving the spider category. I do not see any spider identifiers. So when someone searches spider, they're searching for spider solitaire. Even the top 50, I don't see any spider identifier apps. They're not that popular. So like this is a different level of popularity. It's just all these games. Oh, I think I saw my first one somewhere in here. Here's Spider Identifier Pro. Safe or poisonous, scan now. It's got 2 ratings. It was just launched in December. We saw that in the listing over there. So someone else launched an app. We can go inspect it. If we click this button, that'll bring up the App Store and we can see, okay, we've got some screenshots. It's showing me the iPad version, danger rating for a wolf spider. Powered by advanced AI. Okay. That looks more like a tick to me. So it's an arachnid, but it looks more like a tick. And that's what happens when you use ChatGPT to make an App Store icon. It's good for a prototype. It's good for a V1. But if you get traction, you probably want to work on your packaging. I didn't even think about talking about the icon today. That is a whole separate topic. So this is keyword research. So you're looking for opportunities where there's keywords. Now, if we looked at something else, like my timer app, we can see like I am barely ranking for anything. I haven't really done a whole lot of keyword research here. I could rank for text, but that's probably not what people are searching for. If we go to text, we're going to see text now. So people are trying to do text messaging. And then we've got one text editor, a notepad, another text editor. So like those are the types of things that people expect. Another text editor. Um, not not the best keyword for me. So that's keyword research. We can pick any app and just create a new one. So I know I had copied some stuff over. Let's see if we can get that Keynote one. If we want to do some competitive research, and I want. Oh, okay. So I just want to add this one. Okay, so let's walk through the process. And again, this is all about discovery of keywords. And so then let's add keywords. It's going to suggest some. For some reason, it's suggesting things that are unrelated. I'm not sure why. It's giving me the top popular things, but none of those are useful. Okay, so let's see what this does. I've never done this before. So this is probably business software or productivity. Let's try productivity search. So these are all keywords, and most of them are app names. For productivity, if we switch this over to business, we search LinkedIn, Google Chat, Word. It might be under this keyword that I put things. Okay, so business, maybe. I don't know. It's one of the two. Let's look. Education. Go back to productivity and see what other apps are here. Just scanning quickly, speed test, map, offline, GPS, people misspelling ChatGPT, GitHub, wireless networking stuff, VPN, Atom, Wix, DuckDuckGo. Yeah. So like all of this helps you understand like where are people searching? And maybe this inspires you to think of some type of product if that's the route that you want to go down. Okay. Where are we? So let's go back to Astro. I'm going to close this page because it's too bright. And let's hide this. Hide this. Hide that. So actually, no, let's go back. I'll show you one more thing you can do with the App Store. So if you're looking for something, so I know two words are really impactful: slides and presentation. So let's see what comes up. Presentation. Let's see what comes up when we're searching. So these are the auto suggestions. And then there's a presentation timer. That sounds like a good idea for an app. And if I just want to search presentation, I can just press enter. And these are the top results. And then I just sort of scroll through and see what pops up. I just launched my app, so I don't expect to see it in this list for a while. But you never know. Since none of these have the word presentation in them, like it looks like sixth place is possible for a new app to sort of sit there. So that's how I'm looking at this. We see presenter, they don't use the word presentation, but they're still ranking here. Here's presentation, and that's like the 10th one or so. Presentation. So it looks like I would say top 20 is probably possible if I have presentation in my title. Look, here's another app that's very similar, Showdown presentation. Great markdown presentations. And that's pretty similar to my app, except they support images, which I don't support yet. So that's kind of cool. I hadn't seen this one before. And we got some positive reviews right now. Okay. So this is the type of stuff that you need to do. It's a combination of looking at apps, looking at the words they use, and then it is possible um, to use this to suggest things. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem to give suggestions right away. So let's add some keywords and just do keynotes, um, slides, presentations, present, and let's start there. So we add those, it puts them here, then you hit done. It will add them, it will search and find the top results. And then if we click on this one, we can see Google Slides is the top results for slides. If I click this eyeball icon, it should give me keywords related to this app. So it's doing a search. And what I do is I search by popularity. And then the bigger, the better. But we're looking for areas where it's got less difficulty. So I would look for anything that's high popularity is your primary metric. And then you're going to be looking for something like this. You're just scanning to see where does the color change, and then where does the color change, and where does the color change. And some of these just like mean nothing to me. So if I'm scanning for keywords that I might be able to win on, like that's what I can look at. But the other thing that I'm going to do more importantly is I'm going to look on this column to see if there's a keyword that I want to just grab. At this point, I'm not going to worry too much about difficulty. As long as I'm searching by popularity, I'm going to focus on these keywords, and we'll look at something like Google Photos, maybe. Classroom could maybe be something useful. Notes, docs, files, even GoodNotes. That's a really good app. I love it on iPad. Google Slides, Drive. I'm just picking things that might be useful. We're going to keep scrolling down. You're going to notice the popularity is going down, looking for anything that's useful here. A lot of these are unrelated, which is really confusing to me. It's weird that Google Slides is ranking for all of these terms. Freeform. Yeah, I'm just going to get 3 more. Student looks like a good one to consider. So you're going to get ideas for things that you wouldn't consider by using tools that help surface information. People misspell Google, Teach Hub, that could be an integration. Slideshow Maker. Finally, we're getting a couple more here. PowerPoint. So that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to, instead of hitting done, I'm going to hit add selected. And now we can look at the difficulty. So as you keep gathering, you're kind of like a squirrel. You're just gathering things. You're just trying to pick it up so that you can leverage it. It's going to give you the ratings, and it updates this every day when you log in and open it up. It should refresh them. It won't do it all the time because then you get flagged for abusing the API or something too much from Apple, since this leverages Apple stuff. This might require an App Store developer account, so that's $100 a year in order to integrate this with App Store search. So now what we have is we can search by popularity, sort by popularity, and these are the types of keywords that we're probably going to want to target. We're going to search by difficulty, and these at the bottom are the types of keywords that are probably going to be easier. I would say under 70, preferably under 60. You can see the color coding. These are the ones to potentially target. And I think, I think you can do competitor apps in keywords. You can't do them in the title or the description. So it's kind of like metadata that you're allowed to use them for. Because my app just got approved and it has PowerPoint and Keynote as 2 keywords. Okay, so that's really powerful, and that's your starting point. And then over time, you'll be able to see, okay, how does this app rank for these different keywords? It's a really powerful tool for research. Okay, So the final App Store packaging. So now that you've done all this research, this is where I go back and forth, and I've shown this a little bit already, but I go back and forth with ChatGPT, and we have a conversation. We talk back and forth about the app, the description. I go on a walk. I talk out loud. I read what it writes, and I talk back using Whisper Flow. And it just allows me to just have this conversation back and forth. If you're going to go on a walk, I highly recommend talking to recording something in something like voice recorder from Apple, because you can copy the transcript out. Now, the transcript's not going to be perfect, but it's more foolproof than trying to rely on some of these AI tools that will lose your audio. And I think it's really important not to have to like restate something. So your goal now is you've got all of these ideas, you've got all of these potential features, you've got what you want to build, what the customers are saying, and you need to sort of synthesize some of that information. For me, I knew I wanted to have some kind of easy presentation software. And so that's what Super Easy Slides is for me, because I write in Markdown. I want to copy and paste without any additional formatting and create slides. I don't care about pictures right now. I care about content driving the video from point 1 to point 5 as a retention tactic. So it's like if I give you a plan of what I'm going to talk about, it's a lot easier for you to stick around to say, okay, what's the fifth thing Paul's going to talk about? And then all of the features I added, I have like keyboard shortcuts so that like if you're new, now you can pull up keyboard shortcuts and learn how to use the application. And so all of these things you're going to sort of go back and forth. So let's take a look one more time at my final App Store packaging. Now that you've sort of seen some of the different tools that I'm using, let's go back to Safari. And where? Oh, it's minimized. Which one is this one? So let's talk about the final App Store packaging. I briefly displayed um, the stuff. Let's open the App Store and let's just do Super Easy Slides. No current results yet. Let's see if there's any results. And there we see it. And let's talk about the App Store packaging here. So the first result, if you are number 1, you get your video to autoplay. This is a $100 Bible app. And I've got Bible verses that are cross references. I've got concordances. I don't even know what some of these words are. But it's showing you how to use the features. And that's a really powerful thing. Now it just started playing mine. So you can see Super Easy Slides right here. This is completely free. It's just going through my little video that I just showed you that I filmed in ScreenFlow and cut to just be a little bit punchier, because you want this to be, I think there's a certain limit of like 20 to 30 seconds. And as you scroll, do any of these apps have videos? So for the keyword, like I don't know what's, if I do easy slides, we're seeing a lot of iPhone apps here. Now, a lot of these are slideshow, not necessarily presentation. So I have to compete with all of that. And if we just do slides, we're going to see Keynote, Good Slide, all kinds of apps here. But you can see like the top apps in a category are most likely going to have a video. And if they don't, that's an opportunity for you. I don't know if these have videos. Click on Canva. Canva might be good enough that they don't need to show the video, or maybe they've tried the video and the screenshots work better, because you can A/B test stuff like that. Cool. So, uh, super easy slide. So let's see how it looks to the customer. I'm going to click on it. So we see Markdown Presentation Maker. The keywords I care about right now are slides, Markdown, presentation, and maker. So those are keywords. And then I went with super easy just because my app company is called Super Easy Apps. And I thought it was a fun little name. I don't think I'll create another app with that moniker, but um, because now when I type it, I clash on it's either timer or it's the slides. So I don't love that when I'm using Spotlight. I type super easy. Now I have two apps that are too similar in name. So that is the one thing I do not like. So if we go into it now, well, that didn't work. We can see the video. If you click the video, it'll autoplay. You can go to the next thing. It just so this is like coming full circle, like understanding what customers are saying, notes to slides instantly, having a highlight color or something to make it stand out a little bit to reinforce what you want, and then having a good screenshot. To get this screenshot, sometimes you have to change your app a little bit. I had to make the font size bigger on the markdown because I write in a much smaller size, and I ended up in the actual tool adding a font size so that if I wanted to do this again, I can reshoot with a larger font size. And I think I did something close to like 60 or 50 to get those screenshots. So that's really powerful. And sometimes that drives some feature work. Then we've got the next one, full screen, always readable. I'm just creating slides and just like trying to use customer language, trying to reinforce the pain points that customers are having, that I'm having, and some of the different modes. You're seeing this full screen overlay mode where I can just sort of grab this and position it and then snap it into a position along the top of the screen, though that feature seems like it doesn't want to work right now. So that's just one more thing I'm going to have to use Codex to fix because it broke it. Um, and I'm still playing with this. This is like V1. It's only going to get better based on seeing what works and potentially doing multiple. You can even create multiple App Store page listings that have different screenshots, different titles, different copy to see what converts better for different keyword searches. Like someone searching presentation versus slides, they might have different terminology that they use. Big thing for me is auto numbering. I don't want to write numbers. You can see I don't have any numbers in the writing here, and I'm creating all of these things, start, stop, navigate, blank side. You'll see those right here. They're numbered 13, 14, and 15. Automatically, I'm creating a listicle style presentation where I'm not even including some of these headings that I have here. I'm just doing the bullet points. And that's a style of writing that I do. That is for me. That's a feature for me. And it saves me a ton of time. I don't have to open up Keynote and renumber slides when I want to insert a concept right in the middle. I can just add the concept and it renumbers automatically. So I really like that. Maybe you like that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't want to use this app. That's fine. It's not necessarily for you. It's for me. Um, let's see if we can give it a rating. Okay, I gave it a 5-star review. If you want to help me out, you can go to the link down below and you can get this for free. You can write a review of how this is helping you. It means a lot to me. And thank you for sticking around. Do I have any more slides? I do not. So that is what I wanted to sort of show off. This is Mac only. And you can see my final description that went live on the App Store. A lot of this has keywords in it and has the different features in sort of a benefit focused writing. And again, first pass, I've barely reviewed it. I did most of this in the car, not fully focused, but I read through it, edited it. It was good enough to ship. So what's more important is that you can use these different concepts to uh, finally publish an app. And so this app is something I started last year, and I wasn't planning on launching it, but Codex makes it so much easier to go from prototype to App Store launch really quickly. ChatGPT Pro is your sidekick that is going to help you think outside the box and position your application, leverage different things, pull in keyword research, do all kinds of things that would have been super time consuming, frustrating, hard to get started, easy to stop, and never publish. So now that has all changed. Um, I like this approach, and it's working for me. The more important thing for me is not the downloads, but it's actually hitting publish. Because this app and many of my apps have uh, been hard to update because there's so much context to get back into the code. And Codex now is giving me this opportunity where I have all these ideas I want to do, and I don't have enough time to like read all the code, get back into it because I've got family, I've got exercise. And Codex now makes it so that I can do that and I can launch more apps that are useful for me, or I can make internal tools. And when I have something that I want to share with other people, I can publish it. So if you learned something in this video, hit the like button, comment down below on related stuff that you want to see in another video, or if you want me to dive into icon design, stuff like that. I do think working with a designer is going to like take your app from being just a ChatGPT style icon to something better. Like I did design this icon. I designed it for macOS Sequoia before we had liquid glass, which is now making everything a square shape. Um, and I think asymmetrical app designs on Mac were really cool, adding a little bit of flair, but Apple took that away from us this year, which is because they wanted to liquefy glass on everything, which is perplexing to me. I'm not a fan of liquid glass. I'm not a fan of the new App Store icons on Mac. I have not installed the latest Tahoe on my Mac. I have it on an external hard drive. I do have a video on how to do that if you want to learn how to install macOS on an external SSD so that you can test it out without having to commit to it. Your App Store listing or product page is how people find you. And so if you want them to find you, you've got to take time to make sure that you articulate what your app does. If you don't do this, you also run the risk of building the wrong app. It's so incredibly important to understand what problem you're solving. If it's your own problem, that's kind of different. But if you're chasing after a problem other people have, you've got to use their language, you've got to use the words they're using, and you've got to figure out what features really matter. And that will help you get downloads. Thanks so much for watching. Hit the like button if you learned something in this video, and I will see you in the next video.